What would happen if the seas and oceans suddenly lost their saltiness? You probably know that the water in seas and oceans is salty, and this saltiness comes from a large amount of dissolved salts and minerals. These salts are carried to the oceans by rivers through the erosion of rocks. Underwater volcanic activity also adds minerals like chloride. When ocean water evaporates, the salts are left behind, increasing the concentration. The saltiness of the oceans is the result of billions of years of accumulated minerals. Now let's imagine what would happen if, all of a sudden, ocean water lost its saltiness and became fresh, like drinking water. What would the world look like then? Impact on marine life. Aquatic life. Most marine creatures like fish, corals, and sea plants rely on salty water to survive. This is because they have adapted to the osmotic pressure in salt water. If the oceans suddenly became fresh, many of these organisms wouldn't be able to handle the change in osmotic pressure and would die quickly. For example, corals, which are essential for maintaining marine biodiversity, would perish in fresh water since they depend on salt to survive and grow. With the loss of corals, the habitats of millions of marine species would also disappear. Food chain. The widespread death of marine life would seriously disrupt the ocean's food chain. Small fish, which are the primary food source for larger fish and marine mammals like dolphins and whales, would vanish. Seabirds that rely on surface fish for food would also struggle to find anything to eat. These changes wouldn't just affect life in the oceans. Coastal ecosystems and even humans who depend on marine resources would face significant challenges. In short, if the saltiness of the oceans disappeared, it could lead to the collapse of marine ecosystems and create a global environmental crisis. Food resources. More than 3 billion people worldwide rely on marine resources as a vital part of their daily diet. Fish, shellfish, and other seafood are not only major components of their meals, but also serve as the primary source of protein for many coastal communities in developing countries. If the oceans suddenly turned fresh and could no longer sustain marine life, many species would die, leading to the loss of a critical food source for millions. This could trigger a global hunger crisis. Moreover, the fishing industry, which provides livelihoods for millions of people, would suffer greatly. The cost of food would rise significantly, making protein sources less accessible, particularly for poorer nations, where this impact could be catastrophic. Abundant freshwater, but unsafe. At first glance, having fresh oceans might seem like a huge advantage, as it could provide an endless source of fresh water. However, this water would still be contaminated with minerals, heavy metals, and chemicals from rivers, wastewater, and industrial activities that have flowed into the oceans over time. Without thorough purification processes, this water would not be safe for drinking or agriculture. Treating such a vast amount of water for human use would require massive investments, advanced technology, and extensive infrastructure, resources that many countries, especially poorer ones, simply cannot afford. Even for developed nations, the cost and energy demands of purifying this water would be a significant challenge. Additionally, turning oceans into freshwater could disrupt natural ecosystems and lead to other environmental issues, such as altering natural rainfall patterns or negatively impacting soil and agriculture. In summary, while the idea of fresh oceans might sound appealing at first, the reality is that it could lead to massive crises in food, water, and the environment, creating challenges that would be extremely difficult to overcome. Section 3. Environmental impacts climate changes. Salt water in the oceans plays a crucial role in regulating the Earth's temperature. Ocean currents, like the Gulf Stream, rely on the differences in density between salt water and fresh water to function. If the ocean suddenly became fresh, these currents would stop, disrupting the planet's heat balance. This could lead to harsh winters in Europe, stronger tropical storms, and severe droughts in other regions. Additionally, the rapid melting of polar ice caps caused by the loss of salt in the water would result in a dramatic rise in sea levels. This would threaten coastal areas, islands, and millions of people living near the sea. These changes would not only affect human habitats, but also the ecosystems that depend on stable ocean conditions. Conclusion. While the idea of freshwater oceans might seem harmless at first glance, the reality is that such a change would have far-reaching environmental consequences. It would disrupt the balance of natural ecosystems, alter weather patterns, and significantly impact the water cycle, with devastating effects worldwide. Finally, if you want to learn more and expand your knowledge, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of my videos. If you found this video helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you give it a like. Thank you for watching, and until the next video, take care.